there, Wendy here with Jazzydoodledesigns, and today we are going to discuss a couple of organizational items that I found that have really helped, I don't know, I wouldn't say change my life, but they really help keep me organized. So the first one is this guy. It has kind of a higher back here in the bag. It's a little lower in the front. This divider piece comes out and it spins. So it's on a little like a Lazy Susan type of thing. And this is how I keep it. I'm gonna put the things I use most in here. So my Wink of Stella, I put my scissors in there, I put glue, my blender, my white pencil, a couple of regular pencils, my water brushes that I use the most, the Posca pens I use the most, and the coloring, my colorless blenders. So this helps keep me organized. And you can see it just really is convenient. It's got everything that I use most often in one spot. And because it rotates, I have easy access to everything. And I could pull those out if I wanted to. But I just thought this was a really good find. And I did get it on Amazon, and I will put a link in the description for you guys. But I also like that it's relatively small. So you can see it's about 6 inches by 6 inches, something like that. So it doesn't take up my whole desk, because a lot of the little organizational things that I've seen in the past, and I actually have one, are probably more like 12 inches by 12 inches, which is nice. It can hold a lot more, but sometimes you just need the most essential things, right? And, you know, you could even put your Gamsol in here. I mean, it'll hold a variety of different things. So that's the first one. Okay, so the second thing that I bought is this guy. Now, it's about 8 inches long by 3 inches tall by maybe 3 1/4 inches wide. Each of these little squares is about 1 inch across. And this has been my favorite of all the organizational things. So let's say that you're working on a project and, you know, you have your color combination picked out, your 3 to 5 pencil blend, right? So let's just say it's these 3. Now, if you're working with colors like these, where it's very obvious this is light, medium, dark, maybe it's not quite as helpful. But personally, I find it very helpful to be able to put that blend together in that little square. And anytime I'm coloring something, because sometimes, you know, you miss a flower. Well, if you're Wendy, it oftentimes happens that you're coloring along and you miss a foot, you miss a flower, you miss a little piece of something that you colored. Well, now all of my blends are together. I don't have to try and even remember which colors were in that blend, right? So that's one way of using this. Now, where I find it especially helpful is maybe you're using a black barrel pencil. Now, if you use my system, they have numbers, and that can make it easier for you to see. But when you have a whole pile of pencils laying down, it's not that you can't figure out which one to grab, but now you have to kind of fiddle with them and figure out which it is. So in this case, I could even divide them up in light, medium, and dark to where it's very obvious for me as I'm using them. Here's my light, medium, and dark, and I can have that right in front of my book I'll keep it in camera for you. But imagine if right here was my book and I'm coloring. I got my light, I color, I put it back, and then when I'm done, I can put them all together and I'm ready to go. But when I'm using them, I could have them separated like that. Now this may sound like a little, like, are you getting crazy on me here? But for me, I film in an area that's very small. I'm going to back you out just a little. I film in this very small area. So by the time I put my book in the camera, it's a tight spot. And I personally don't like it when I'm filming and I have a lot of miscellaneous stuff. If I'm talking about this, I want your focus to be on this and not distracted by all this stuff. So I don't like to have the pencils and whatnot in view. So now I'm pushing everything aside and I have this big pile. And even as obvious as these are, when you start getting your little pile of pencils, looking becomes more difficult, and then one ends up falling on the floor, and now you're really scrambling to try and figure out where it is. So this has just been something that has made my life a little bit simpler. The other thing I like is that it holds multiple mediums, so it's big enough to hold a Posca pen, your water brush. You can even put your Neo colors in there, or other smaller medium, like maybe your white Prismacolor pencil, because you use it a lot, is small. I like that it holds all these things. Now, it is 3 inches tall, so as you really get nubby, maybe that won't work as well. But usually by the time they're that small, I'm either putting them on an extender, gluing another one to the back, or simply, replacing it and using this when I'm not filming. But to me, this has just been a really great organizational system. And then when I'm all done, I can look at my project and know all the things that I've used. So as I pull a pencil out, I can, add it to the collection, and I make sure that I categorize everything in my notes, because I do keep a list for myself of all of the colors that are used in a project, so that later on, if I go, well, I really like how that, how I colored that, in this case, like maybe the little fox or one of the cats, I can take a look and narrow down my options without watching the video again to see how I colored it. So I hope that was helpful. Now, this particular one came in a 2-pack, and I'm fine with that, because I can either have multiple projects going on, because oftentimes I am filming, certain color alongs, and then maybe I have a side project that I color on the couch. So this has been nice for me too. Also, when I do color, when I'm sitting on, my chair or on the couch or something like that, my pencils don't get lost, because they're all, contained and not lying on a surface that when you sit, slants down. I'm sure you've had this struggle as well. Well, maybe not. Maybe it's just a Wendy thing. The last thing that I did buy, just to try it out, was this little guy. Now, this is a lot smaller. It's 3.5 by 3.5, and it has 6 big openings that are about 1 inch, and then it has 3 what I would call pencil openings. So these little guys each hold 1 pencil. Now, this on the front side is about 1.5 inches, and on the back side it's a full 2 inches. So what's nice about this guy is if you do have a lot of small pencils, these fit in there a little better, and you know, you have options if you're working with smaller mediums. So if you use Neocolors, this might be a really good option. I personally, I think it would be very helpful for that. You can put, so it looks like you could put about 5 Neocolors in each of these. And then of course you have room for the individuals. It'll just barely hold a Neocolor in these center ones as well. So if you use Neocolors, this might be a really good option for you, but it's also good if your space is very limited. So if I was doing a small project where like it's an ongoing thing where throughout an entire book you're using the same like 5 or 10 pencils, this might be a really great option because it's not going to take up a lot of your space. So these are just the 3 things that I found that I thought would be helpful for you. I'll put links in the description box below. And as always, happy coloring, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you for watching another video from Jazzydoodledesigns. If you enjoy adult coloring content, please consider subscribing. You can now find me on Instagram and Facebook as well. I welcome all comments and suggestions. Don't forget to like the video before you go. And until next time, take care.